Hey guys, what's up? You're watching Up and Adam. My name's Adam Newell. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm the guy bringing you guys all the weekly interviews and recaps from your favorite celebrities and pop culture influencers. Now, of course, today's no different. Today, we're back to talk about Whitney Rose from the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, who's offering an update on where her dad is. We've all been wanting to know. I mean, it's a big question looming over this season, and now we have the details. Guys, if you haven't already, go ahead, smash that like button, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell because, well, you don't want to miss anything we have coming up. Now with that, let's jump right in.
It's time for all your binge-worthy pop culture news. Welcome to Up and Adam.
All right, guys, so it looks like Whitney Rose offered an update on her dad, and it was in a never-before-seen clip that we're going to eventually get on the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. She was talking to Meredith Marks and I believe Mary Cosby, a few of her co-stars, but what they're saying is, while chatting with Meredith, who wanted to know how Steve Lesh is, that's Whitney's dad, the topic of sobriety came up, and we saw him on season 1, where Whitney really struggled with helping her dad find sobriety. And she even said to me in an interview, addiction is a bitch. And I agree with her. I couldn't even imagine having to navigate having a parent who was going through this. And honestly, I think it takes so much courage and strength for Whitney to be able to do that. But in this conversation, when they were discussing it, Whitney revealed that while she invited her father to come live in her home, she was ultimately forced to kick him out of said home because she said he was taking advantage of her and her husband, Justin Rose. Whitney's words exactly were, he quarantined with us, he lived with us, but it got to a point where I wasn't able to hold my healthy boundaries for me and my family, so I asked him to leave. Whitney revealed to Meredith, as well as Mary Cosby and Heather Gay, again, this is a never-before-seen clip. Of course, Mary's going to ask the questions, and she asked, in what ways? What do you mean you weren't able? Whitney elaborated and said her father began taking advantage of her and Justin and accused him of manipulating situations. As the conversation continued, Whitney did say to Meredith, I don't want to take away from, your loss of your own father, who died earlier this year after a battle with Alzheimer's disease, before noting that she felt as if she was sort of mourning the loss of her own father, even though Steve is very much so alive. Whitney said it's difficult, and she opened up about her emotional struggle, noting that she fears one day that she will learn that something horrible has happened to him. That breaks my heart for her. But she said, it will always make me feel like, I don't know, am I one day going to get a call and I'm going to have to live with knowing that, like my dad, and then somebody said, okay, let's change the topic. Whitney kind of pulled it together and said, I don't like this topic. But again, this was one of the biggest conversations of last season, and also in our interview when we were talking about everything she's done for him. She has not only paid his bills in the past, and she even made it known that he feels like, listen, I did a lot for you when you were a kid growing up, and now I think you owe this to me. But at what point does she help, or does she continue to help, putting him in sober living and letting him into their home, paying for everything for Steve? I mean, I understand this is your parent and you should really go above and beyond to help them as much as possible. But it seems like for Whitney, eventually enough became enough. And she decided this is not healthy for me and my family. So she had to move on. And also it makes me question, Mary Cosby, why are you questioning Whitney Rose? Honestly, and I'm not trying to go in on Mary Cosby, but I feel like you have enough problems going on at your house. And you're sharing that as well, that you and Rob Sr., you live in different rooms. He quarantined the whole time in Florida while you were in Salt Lake City with your son. You start talking to mannequins. I don't think we should be passing judgment on Whitney at this point, because I feel like Whitney has done everything that she could have possibly done. Her and her husband, they've spent enough money, and they're at the point where it's like, how much more can we do before it looks like we're enabling you? Again, I don't disagree with that. I'm so excited, though, for the rest of this season when it comes to the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, because Whitney is not really using her whole storyline this season to talk about, her dad's sobriety. And really, it kind of became her dad's storyline last season. This season, we're seeing her evolve as a businesswoman, sharing that business with us. We get to see a little bit more of Iris and Beau, and she's changing the name and the concept a little bit. She's tweaking it. So again, she's evolving her business. We're also seeing a lot about her uncomfortable sex life, which I think we could all pass on But I'm glad to see that it's shifting a little bit and it's a little bit more about Whitney, even though I do believe that her storyline and talking about her dad's sobriety and her dad being as open as he was, that could potentially help a lot of people who are watching the show. I think that, you know, sometimes we are watching Real Housewives and we're like, this is cotton candy, BS reality TV. But there are people out there who are watching and going through the same things, whether they're addiction, infidelity, relationship issues, career issues. A lot of people have these same issues. So they're watching these women and wondering, okay, what are you doing? Maybe I can try that. So it is helpful. At the end of the day, it is helpful. And, you know, well, I was going to say most of it's helpful, but then when you have Jen Shah, who's getting indicted on 2 counts of fraud, maybe that's not the most helpful situation, but that does unfortunately make for a good TV because everyone likes a scandal, which is really shitty. But at the end of the day, that's what everyone's watching for, just like they're watching Real Housewives of Beverly Hills to see exactly what's happening and unfolding before our very eyes when it comes to the Girardi scandals. Okay. My big question for you here is, do you think Whitney was right or wrong in pushing her dad out of the house? Do you agree with enough is finally enough? How much more can you give from you and your family and financially to support someone who it kind of seems like he doesn't really want the help? If you continue to go back and do the same things, I understand, again, addiction is a bitch, but how long does she continue to do this? I was reading fan comments where they're ripping into her. I'm like, that's not technically fair. I don't think that's fair at all. So again, my question is for you guys, do you think it was fair or absolutely not? Do you think Whitney should have held in there a little bit longer? And also, what are you guys looking forward to most when it comes to the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, aside from watching Jen Shah's legal scandal? Or is that the only thing you're actually watching for? Because mind you, we still have the Meredith Marks, Jen Shah rift that's going on. We still have our newbie, Jenny Wynn. We also are going to have Mary Cosby's family come out of the woodworks, and they're going to be chiming in and elaborating on this whole idea that she's running an alleged cult. There's a lot to talk about here. And I still think that Mary got robbed of this season with Jen Shah's legal drama because it overshadowed everything she had going on. And I think that honestly, the women were about to go in and rip into this whole alleged cult topic. So maybe next season. All right, guys, if you haven't already, go ahead, comment below. And before you go, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell because, well, you don't want to miss anything we have coming up. And with that, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys for all the well wishes. I feel so much better today. So I hope you guys have a happy Wednesday, happy Real Housewives of Beverly Hills Day. And of course, we will be back to talk about it tomorrow. See you guys soon. Bye, guys.